What is up YouTube, KG Gaming here, bringing you our personal ranking of the current 9 legends in Apex Legends. Without further ado, let's skip all the bullshit and let's get right into it. Okay, so who do I think is the worst legend in the game?
I'm speechless. Actually, I wrote a speech. Yeah, forget it. Let's just fight.
Alright, I love the guy, but I'm gonna have to go with Mirage. Now, how did I come to this conclusion, you might ask? Let's break down his kit, alright? His passive. Automatically drop a decoy and cloak for 5 seconds when knocked down. I personally have never seen this save his life. If the enemy wants you dead, those 5 seconds will not save you. Maybe in a chaotic environment you can slip away. It's just very situational. Moving on to his tactical, he can send out a holographic decoy to confuse the enemy. Usually the decoy is standing around looking super conspicuous. After getting bamboozled the first few times, players usually catch on. If someone does shoot the decoy, their position is revealed for a short time. Again, super situational and requires the enemy to make a mistake. And his ultimate is far from being ultimate. A stagnant circle of decoys appears around while he can make an escape while invisible. No one will be shooting these decoys. I've only seen this used as an escape mechanism, and a poor one at that. Sorry Mirage, you've got a lot of heart and personality, but you suck pork chops in the arena.
There's a thin line between life and death. You'll find me there.
Moving on to number 8, we have Wraith. Now before you guys get your torches and pitchforks, hear me out. She has one of the smallest hitboxes in the game, giving her a tremendous advantage in gunfights. On top of this, she's incredibly edgy, so it's no wonder why she's a top pick. But let's take a more in-depth look at her kit. Her passive states you hear a voice when danger approaches. As far as you can tell, it's on your side. Basically, if you're in someone's crosshairs or line of sight, Wraith can let her team know. In my experience, one of two things is going to happen when she gives her team the warning. You're either immediately shot, or you find yourself doing 360s looking for an enemy in any direction. There's no indication of any sort of direction the person is looking at you from, so you're just as blind as if you didn't have this ability at all. It's not completely useless, but it could certainly be improved upon. Her tactical is definitely the best weapon in her arsenal. It allows her to reposition quickly through the safety of the void space, avoiding all damage. In other words, she becomes invincible and invisible for a few seconds, usually to reposition to a more advantageous position for combat. However, she leaves behind a very obvious blue trail, so phasing usually just delays the inevitable if she was losing a fight. Still, a very handy ability that she can shift the tide of a fight with in some instances. As for her ultimate, she can link 2 locations with portals for 60 seconds. I mostly see people use this for quick transportation for their team, but with a little time for setup, it can be used to get the jump on enemies who wander into your camping spots. It has potential, but more often than not, it doesn't help. Wraith should phase into a dimension where she's a better character.
They say death catches up to everyone. He can certainly try.
At number 7, we have my absolute favorite legend, Octane. This Spanish-speaking daredevil took a long sit on a short grenade fuse and willingly blew off his own legs to get them replaced with robot legs. How awesome is that? Ugh. Looking at his passive, we have what is hands down his most appealing attribute. While not taking damage, Octane restores health over time. Now this is priceless. If your team makes it to the later stages of the game, you will likely have spent a lot of time just looting, all the while healing off damage from previous fights. I usually stock up on more shield cells and such instead of syringes and the like because my health regens at a reasonable rate. His tactical allows him to move 30% faster for 6 seconds, costs some health to use. So at the cost of a little bit of health, you can very quickly beat that enemy to the supply bin at the start of the match, or escape a building filled to the brim with enemies. Getting shot would normally slow you down and lead to being downed, but the speed boost can absolutely save you. My only gripe is I wish it was a tad faster, or lasted indefinitely, where I could keep going at the cost of more health, but a 1 second cooldown isn't too bad. His ultimate is a deployable jump pad that catapults users through the air. This is the second best way of traveling to hard-to-reach places. We'll cover the number 1 spot later in the list. It can also be used to propel you over enemies with the high ground to shoot them from above or behind. It sounds better than it actually is if I'm being honest. Definitely a solid choice for a legend and my personal favorite. All aboard the Octane, motherfuckers.
Losing isn't fun. That's why I don't do it.
Ziplining in at number 6, we have Pathfinder. Probably the fan favorite legend, and for good reason. He's just so adorable. I hope he finds that creator he's been searching for. His passive was what I think is the best part of his loadout. He can scan a survey beacon to reveal the ring's next location. Knowledge is power. If your team is well equipped, hunkering down at the center of the last or later circles can tip the odds in your favor. His tactical is a grapple to get to out of reach places quickly. The range is kinda small, but when the stars align, some magic can happen and win you an encounter because of a sweet grapple. His ultimate lets him create a zipline for everyone to use. You can use it to traverse the map quicker, reach the high ground, and really do all your zipline related tasks. Very underwhelming ultimate in my opinion. Now if only he could find the path to a decent hitbox.
Hey, try to move me. It'll be fun.
Top 5. You ready for this, brother? Gibraltar, or as some lovingly call him, Gibby, is an interesting character. This absolute unit was recently blessed with a buff, giving him 10% damage reduction along with another thick boy we'll get to shortly. This pairs incredibly well with his passive, the gun shield. Aiming down sights deploys a gun shield that blocks incoming fire. Obviously this won't save you from being shot in the back, and only covers a small part of you, but it will definitely save your life in many instances. Speaking of shields, his tactical allows him to throw down a dome shield that blocks attacks for 15 seconds. The issue here is that the shield blocks all damage going in and all damage going out, so you can't hide in it for long as the enemy will just stroll in uninvited. At medium and long range encounters, it can be used to pick up a teammate pretty safely. Mostly though, you're going to be using it to very quickly re-up your shield or use a syringe or something. When things get too chaotic or you just want to flush some campers out from behind some rocks, his ultimate grants him the ability to call in a concentrated mortar strike on a position you mark with smoke. It's not super devastating, but it is a great distraction. So Gibraltar, I graciously gave you a spot in my top 5.
What can I say except you're welcome?
Life is meant to die. Accept your fates.
Alright, that's enough memes. Our number 4 pick is all business, and by business I mean death. Like, seriously, Caustic is so obsessed with people dying. Must be some kind of fetish. Anyway, this toxic trapper shares the 10% damage reduction of Gibraltar. Self-explanatory. His passive gives him threat vision on enemies moving through your gas. We haven't discussed his Nox gas yet, but basically he gets predator vision for anyone in his sick-ass vape clouds. Speaking of, his tactical gives him access to 6 canisters that release deadly Nox gas when shot or triggered by enemies. These bad boys are usually littered in every room of a building and will slowly whittle away at your health while you're in their proximity. Personally, it's cool to drop them on the supply ship and start chucking them. People usually bail from the ship or die. Either way, you'll get the loot. In similar fashion, his ultimate is a Nox gas grenade that lets him blanket a large area in Nox gas. There's nothing more satisfying than lobbing one of these into a window and watching a squad scramble for an exit. Usually won't get a kill, but will send the enemy team into chaos and you'll be able to see them with that handy passive ability.
Better find me before I find you.
Number 3 pick here. Great pick from the current cast. Loves to talk about guns. Here we have our professional our professional soldier, Bangalore. Fortunately for her, she can back up the big game she talks. Taking fire while sprinting makes you move faster for a brief time. For her passive ability, this comes in handy way more often than you'd think. It's a very fast boost, exactly when you need it. Nothing else to it, really. She can also fire a high-velocity smoke canister that explodes into a smoke wall on impact. If you don't have a digital threat reticle, you aren't seeing her through the thick smoke she brings to the fight. This is an extremely versatile tool. Shoot it away from the fight for a diversion, use it during a losing fight to escape, use it to revive a teammate or grab a banner in a hot zone, use it in a building and whip out a shotgun for some close-quarter devastation. This is an amazing tactical. Her ultimate is pretty much a rehashed version of Gibraltar's, or maybe Gibraltar's is a rehashed version of hers, I don't know. Call in an artillery strike that slowly creeps across the landscape. Not much to say about this one, honestly. If you get a Bangalore on your team, always be sure to make sure that they have enough clips for their gun. I heard they love clips.
Clips are what civvies use in their hair. This is called a magazine.
Come on now, bring it. AJ Shea will be waiting for you down there.
She ain't afraid of much, but losing, that would be a drag. Yes, everyone's favorite comeback medic just missed out on the number 1 spot. The silver medal is nothing to be ashamed about though. A team without a lifeline is practically playing with a handicap. Living up to her name, she's able to revive teammates faster than anyone else and is granted a shield to block incoming fire while doing so. She also uses healing items faster for herself, making sure that her and her team are never out of the fight for too long. Her tactical, the Drone of Compassion, or DOC, heals anyone in close proximity of it. There are a ton of times and places this can be useful, as you can shoot to your heart's content while being healed. Her ultimate boasts a long cooldown for a very good reason. She calls in a lifeline package of high-quality defensive gear. Phoenix kits, high-quality armor and helmets, optics, and other healing items can help bring a team back from near elimination or bolster an already strong team to nearly untouchable levels. All of these features already seem very strong, but let's not forget her most endearing quality, that accent.
I am the hunter the gods have sent.
If you don't know how process of elimination works, then you'll be surprised to see our number one pick, Bloodhound. This is the entire package. Amazing abilities across the board. His tracker passive makes foes leave behind clues for you to find. This is seriously a wealth of information. It tells you exactly how long ago an enemy opened a door or supply bin, if someone was downed in a position, pretty much anything. Knowing exactly how long ago an enemy was in an area leaves all the guessing out. You almost immediately know if the area is safe or not. If someone was near very recently, or you maybe just heard something, is where his tactical comes into play. His Eye of the Allfather will briefly reveal enemies, traps, and clues through all structures in front of you. Seeing an enemy through the wall? Come on, that sounds like cheating. But let's say you're out in a more open area and have multiple enemies to deal with. Pop that ultimate to become the Beast of the Hunt. Transform into the ultimate hunter. Enhance your senses, allowing you to see cold tracks and move faster. This is like playing the game on easy mode for 30 seconds. Enemies glow red and leave behind glowing red tracks, and with a speed boost thrown in, they won't be escaping your fury. There is nothing more dangerous than a smart Bloodhound, and for these reasons, he is our number one legend in Apex Legends. Quick side note, all the footage in this video is either mine or Kyle's, which explains why most of it is terrible. Keep in mind, this is also our opinion, and we know that most people won't agree with our placements. Even so, we'd love to hear your opinions and rankings in the comments section below. Be sure to drop a like and subscribe if you enjoyed. This is KG Gaming, signing off.